When the final episode of Little House on the Prairie aired in 1983, millions of fans said goodbye to Walnut Grove and to the little girl with the braids who had grown up before their eyes. That girl was Laura Ingalls. But her real name was Melissa Gilbert. And what most people didn't know was, when the cameras stopped rolling, her real-life story was just beginning. A story of fame, love, loss, reinvention, and survival. Melissa Gilbert wasn't just a child star. She was one of the most recognizable faces in America by the time she was 12. She had spent nearly a decade playing Laura Ingalls, the curious, fiery, compassionate pioneer girl who taught generations about courage, family, and doing the right thing. But behind the bonnet and the prairie dress, Melissa was growing up fast, in a world that didn't always protect its child stars. She was born in 1964, adopted at just 5 days old by actor Paul Gilbert and his wife Barbara. From the start, she was surrounded by show business. Her older brother Jonathan was already an actor, and by age 4, Melissa was landing commercials. But it was Little House that changed everything. At 9 years old, she auditioned for the role of Laura Ingalls. Michael Landon, who became a father figure to her on and off screen, saw something special. Not just talent, but heart. He fought to cast her, even though she was younger than the other finalists. And from that moment on, Melissa's life was no longer her own. For 9 years, she lived as Laura Ingalls, going to school on set, filming 22 episodes a season, missing out on sleepovers, birthdays, and normal teenage experiences. But she didn't mind. She loved the cast like family. She called Michael Landon Papa, and he treated her like a daughter. But when the show ended in 1983, Melissa was 18 years old and completely lost. She later said, "One day I was Laura Ingalls. The next day, I was nobody." That's the curse of being a child star, especially one so closely tied to a single iconic role. Who were you when the world only saw the character? Melissa tried to move on. She took on new roles, TV movies, guest appearances, even a short-lived series called Little House, A New Beginning, which continued the story after Charles and Caroline left. But nothing stuck. And while she was trying to build a post-Little House career, her personal life was spinning out of control. At 20, she married Bo Brinkman, a rodeo cowboy. It was a whirlwind romance. They met, dated briefly, and got married in secret. But within a year, it fell apart. The marriage was annulled, but the pain stayed. She later admitted she was searching for love, for stability, for the kind, a family life she had played on screen for so long. Then, in 1988, she found it, or thought she did. She married actor Bruce Boxleitner, known for Tron and Babylon 5. He was 15 years older, calm, grounded, and everything she thought she needed. They had 2 sons together, Dylan and Justin. For a while, it looked like a fairy tale. But behind closed doors, the marriage was strained. The age gap, different lifestyles, and the pressures of Hollywood took their toll, and Melissa began to struggle, not just with her career, but with her health. In the 1990s, she started experiencing memory lapses, confusion, and mood swings. At first, she thought it was stress. Then she feared it was early-onset dementia. But in 2000, she got the real diagnosis: temporal lobe epilepsy. The news was devastating. She had seizures that could strike at any moment. She couldn't drive, she couldn't work consistently, and the medication made her gain weight, something that, in Hollywood, came with brutal judgment. She later said, "I felt like my body had betrayed me, and the industry I'd given my life to suddenly didn't want me anymore." She faded from the spotlight. But Melissa Gilbert wasn't done. In 2002, she made a bold move. She ran for president. Not of a country, but of the Screen Actors Guild, SAG. Yes, The little girl from the prairie was now leading one of the most powerful unions in Hollywood. She campaigned hard. She spoke about health care for actors, fair wages, and protecting child performers, drawing from her own painful experiences. And in 2001, she won. She served 2 terms as SAG president, from 2001 to 2005, fighting for actors during a time of major industry change, the rise of digital media, contract disputes, and the fight for residuals. She stood up to studio executives. She defended actors during strikes, and she became a respected leader, not because of her fame, but because of her courage. She later said, "I wasn't the biggest star in the room, but I was willing to fight." But even as she led others, her personal life was crumbling. Her marriage to Bruce Boxleitner ended in 2011, after 22 years. The divorce was painful, public, and filled with accusations. Melissa claimed he had been unfaithful. He denied it. The media pounced, and once again she found herself alone, and in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. But this time, she wasn't a child. She wasn't playing a role. She was raw, real, and ready to rebuild. In 2013, she published her memoir, Prairie Tale, a memoir. It wasn't a glossy Hollywood story. It was honest. She wrote about her epilepsy, her insecurities, her regrets, and the deep bond she shared with Michael Landon, a man she still called Papa in her heart. She also revealed something shocking. At 19, during a time of deep confusion and emotional pain, she had an abortion. She said she never talked about it for decades, out of shame, fear, and guilt. But writing the book, she realized she needed to tell the truth, not just for herself, but for other women who had carried silent pain. "I didn't want to be a martyr," she said. "I just wanted to be honest." The book was a revelation. Fans praised her bravery. Critics called it one of the most honest celebrity memoirs ever written. And slowly, Melissa began to reclaim her life. She started doing guest roles again, including a touching return to the Little House universe in the 2004 miniseries Little House: The Last Farewell, where she reprised Laura Ingalls one final time. She also found love again. In 2018, she married Timothy Busfield, an actor and director best known for The West Wing. He wasn't a cowboy or a movie star, but he was kind, steady, and deeply supportive. And for the first time in years, Melissa said she felt truly seen. But life wasn't done testing her. In 2019, during a routine medical checkup, doctors discovered a serious issue with her heart. She needed open-heart surgery, a terrifying procedure at any age, let alone in your 50s. She later said, "I looked at my husband and said, if I don't make it, tell the boys I love them every day." The surgery was a success, but recovery was long and painful. She had to relearn how to walk, how to breathe, how to trust her body again. And through it all, she kept going, because Melissa Gilbert has never been one to give up. Today, she lives a quieter life, but her impact is louder than ever. She speaks at events about epilepsy awareness, mental health, and the challenges child stars face. She advocates for adoption. She and Timothy adopted 2 daughters from Haiti, bringing her total to 4 children, and she still connects with fans, at conventions, on social media, in interviews, always with warmth, honesty, and that familiar spark in her eyes. Because even though she's not on TV every week, Melissa Gilbert never really left us. She's still Laura Ingalls, not because of the braids or the bonnet, but because of what Laura stood for: resilience, integrity, the courage to keep going no matter what. And in many ways, Melissa's real life has mirrored Laura's journey, from childhood on the prairie to hardship to loss, to finding peace not in fame, but in family. She once said, I didn't choose to be a star, but I choose who I am now, and who she is a survivor, a fighter, a mother, a leader, and yes, still, always our Laura. Because some roles don't end when the show does. They stay with us. They shape us. They become us. And when the world needed a real-life Laura Ingalls, strong, honest, unafraid to face the truth, Melissa Gilbert stepped forward, not as a character, but as herself. And that is the most powerful story of all.